Yo boys, back with another video. Today we are finally going to be doing a feral druid guide, and we're going to be talking about pretty much one build at the moment, but there also is an AoE build that you guys can run. So this build does not involve Primal Wrath. So obviously if you're doing Blitz or Solo Shuffle, you may want to switch the build to this, and I'll pretty much show you both versions of the build during the rotation and obviously have them both linked. I'll have it'll just be called AoE build or single target more likely. So this build is mainly for solo targeting. When you're not trying to triple bleed or double bleed or anything like that, you're mainly just focusing maybe for 2v2 arena, something like that. And overall, it's just really good to have. Now in Blitz, you're probably going to be playing your AoE build. It depends on the map, obviously, because sometimes you're just solo hitting a base, so you would rather have the single target build than an AoE build. But usually in Blitz in general, even if you're even if you're hitting bases solo, it's still really good to have Primal just to be able to, AoE. So I'd suggest if you're trying to play Blitz, run the AoE build, which will be in the link in the description. It's basically the same rotation, except instead of clicking Rip by itself, you're going to be clicking Primal Wrath which obviously is an AoE Rip. So it's basically instead of clicking Rip, you would click the Primal Wrath. So there's not really much of a difference other than the fact that obviously Primal Wrath is an AoE Rip, which is really good in Blitz. You'll do a lot of damage, or just in Solo Shuffle if you know you're not going to be able to, if you're not playing with like a sub rogue or something. There's certain situations. Usually you're probably just going to be running the AoE build, so I will go to that real quick, and then I'll also have the solo target build down below. So I'll be showing the AoE build mainly just because more people are going to be playing it, especially if you're playing solo shuffle and stuff like that. So we'll start off with this build, but I'll have both of the rotations down below, and I'll obviously do it in the video here. I'll just split it. So first we're going to be going with gear. Now, as you can see, I'm not best in slot, so I will have somebody who is best in slot down below. But I basically have enchants. You're going to be running the authority of radiant power. Enchants are really a big thing in arena or just anything right now, because the enchants alone will make you do a lot of damage. They're pretty broken. Pretty insane for most classes right now. Not having full enchants and gems is like really crucial. So I'm running 4 set. If you're wondering what build to run or what gear to copy, usually I go to check PvP and I'll check the top 3 players and I'll kind of just zoom through them, and then the best one that I think is better, or whoever plays the thing that I'm trying to play, I'll check, I'll copy paste their gear. And that's pretty much all you gotta do. Obviously, you're running crafted mainly everything other than your 4 set. So Bloody Token cape, bloody token belt. You're gonna get 4 sets. So I did the hands, pants, chest, and shoulders, and everything else is kind of crafted. Obviously, I'm running the not the non-badge, even though badge with like maybe Comboat could be good, but as of now, it's not very. It's the haste is definitely better overall. So that's pretty much that with your gear. Not really much to it other than that. Obviously, I'll have it in the link description so you can actually check what's going on down there. So, and obviously you're going to be running precog. So make sure you get precog. Now, even though you're not really going to be running an insane amount of haste, so it ends up being really slow. As you can see, I'm literally sitting there casting clone for a minute. So, just having precog is going to allow you that chance to actually land a clone. But that's pretty much that. Now, macros, I don't even think I run any macros. So let's see, I don't think I run any. So yeah, I run 0 macros, so you don't really need macros. Now, um, if you're running the single target build, which you most likely might be, you're not gonna have Thrash, so you don't really have to worry about it. But since we are having it with the AoE build, obviously this is literally just gonna be a button that you put up around AoE. So you just put up all your bleeds, and then you just throw out your Thrash just for another bleed. Same thing as like Moonfire. You treat Moonfire like Thrash or like a combo. It's like backstab. It's not insanely important, but it's still something. It's kind of like a nerf version of Rupture or something like that. So it's nice to have up and all that good stuff, but it's not like insanely crucial or like game changing. Like you could literally not touch it at all, and you'd be perfectly fine. It's just really good if you're trying to, do a bunch in AoE and you're just sitting there, doing bit damn. So that's pretty much that. So we're going to be going on to the add-ons. So I run a few add-ons here. We're going to be running Ability Team Tracker, which again, some of these overlap with each other, but so you don't have to necessarily get, for example, Ability Team Tracker and I don't know where it is. It's somewhere on here. It tracks the same thing, but I just have it on because I have it in certain situations where it just looks better. So Ability Team Tracker, it obviously attracts, your team tracker. It just it's basically cooldowns. Battleground enemies you don't really need on unless you're doing blitz, so this is really, whatever. Bigdebuffs, really nice to have. Does all crowd control and it pretty much just buffs the size of it. Really nice to have. Details is kind of an obvious no-brainer. It shows all your damage, healing, CC breaks, etc. Then you have your diminishing return viewer, which, you can get it or not get it, your call. Nameplate cooldowns, which is the most asked question around my, most of my viewers. They'll message me, yo, what did you add on? What does that add on? Nameplate cooldowns. So if you're looking for, when you target at somebody, most people don't run it because they would rather have it on their sArena. I would rather have it on there. I'm so used to using it that I don't get mixed up or anything at all. So it literally just shows their cooldowns. You don't have to worry about looking anywhere else. You literally just are looking over the map and you're just able to see it. So you don't have to worry about, looking off to the right on your sArena or whatever. So that's nameplate cooldowns. Omnibar tracks enemy cooldowns, which is, nice to have. Because obviously it's pretty good to have them on both sides. You can either have them on this side and nameplates. I run them both. So I'm just getting that benefit off. But that's pretty much that. And then you have sArena updated, which I will basically show you a quick rundown over it, so you can basically just copy everything I have. So first, when you download it, you're gonna go to Xvic, and then you're just gonna copy everything I have here. So just pause the video, copy all of that. I'm gonna go slowly over these so you can just get a quick look over them, and just make sure you pause it. You can literally put the exact numbers that I have, and I can obviously, if you hit me up on Discord, I will literally screenshot them and give them to you so you can get like a better look at them if that's what you want. But yeah, this is pretty much how my sArena is set up. If you see how it's tested up here, it's pretty much just like that, and I will show you the rest here, which is basically just nothing important. But that's pretty much how my sArena. It's clean. Obviously, you're not gonna have that many DRs, but that's pretty much my sArena, how it looks. I don't really have to worry about much. So as you can see, I'm not even actually counting their CDs on the sArena. It just looks much cleaner that you don't have to worry about it. I just do the nameplates, so you don't have to even bother with it. So this is just like a perfect one for not worrying about looking to the right for really anything other than their names. And like obviously whatever, the triggers, etc. So that's pretty much sArena. And then you have TrufiGCD, which basically, I usually just run it for the viewers. Just, whatever I do, it pretty much just puts at the bottom here. And then Omnibar, pretty much the same thing, except, it's for kicks. It's usually when I'm playing a healer or something like that. As you can see, when I test them, kicks, all that stuff, I usually just run it whenever I'm playing a caster, so I don't have to worry about it. I can preemptively already know, like, if I'm healing and, it's up, it's nice. I don't have to, like, look up if I'm healing or something like that. It's just there. So just another thing to help you out if you're having trouble faking cast or something like that. But that's pretty much all the add-ons I run. I don't really run aura or anything like that. So that's pretty much just the basic. And then you have your targeting, which I have it changed right now because I'm leveling. So for targeting, you just go down to target nearest enemy player. Again, I just literally put tab there and do enemy player, so you're not targeting pets or nothing. And it basically just allows you to pretty much tab. So whoever you're looking at, it's gonna tab to them. So you're just going like that. You'll see on my videos that it's pretty basic now. Sometimes, rarely, depending on if they're all stacked, it can sometimes get weird. But usually, it doesn't get weird unless they're like. Usually I have no problems with it. It's I wouldn't worry about learning how to do anything else other than that. As long as you can get pretty high rated just by tap targeting. It's not, that hard, really. It's literally just the easiest form of tab targeting. It's better than clicking on them manually or like clicking their thing. So, I would suggest doing that. It's just a lot easier. You don't have to worry about it. It's chill. So that's pretty much that. That's all the gear, all the add-ons. I don't run macros, and the only macro that I have is for my file, which it's just a toy. So if you're looking for the fire toy that spits out fire, this is it, Fire Eater's Vial. And I will show you the macro so you can just check it out. This is on my, I had to re-get everything back, so I have no add-ons really. And that's really it. That's the only add-on I really have. Or, macro, whatever. So for the build, and for the actual rotation, so you're going to sit in stealth usually. 99% of the times you're going to be in stealth. Now your first button is going to be Tiger's Fury. Now I'm going to have again, I don't have macros, so, because there's no really need to have them. Now you can have them. I just don't, because it's such a, little thing to do that it really doesn't bother me to click them. But you can obviously macro some of these things to get out of your way. But all you're going to do is you're going to Tiger's Fury, you're going to rake, and then after that, all you're doing is you're going to instantly Incarnation, and then you're going to Feral Frenzy, Swarm, and then Moonfire, and then Rip. Off that, you can either re-stealth, re-stun, but all you're trying to do is spam bites. Shred bite, all that good stuff. And that's it. That's really I'll show you how it looks. So Tiger's Fury, Stun, Incarn, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire, Rip, and then you're just biting. So just shred, bite, bite, rake again to keep it up, Moonfire again to keep it up, bite. We can re-stealth, DR stun again if we want, bite, shred, bite. It's basically just it's not very hard. Obviously, you want to keep your bleeds up, and again, I didn't even use Thrash there. And usually, you're not going to use Thrash in your opener, mainly because it's gonna break CC. Obviously, if I go over and I just do this, it's gonna put it on everybody. So, it's not really a cooldown you're gonna be using often. Now, if they're by themselves, or you're trying to maybe double bleed or something like that, then it's great. But usually in your opener, it's going to look just like that, and that's pretty much how your opener is going to be 90% of the time. And then off that, so off your burst opener, you're just going to Tiger it. So your mini burst is Tiger's Fury, Frenzy, the same thing, just without Incarn. And obviously, you're not going to be able to just re-stealth unless you're playing a Night Elf. But, let's say you're not playing Night Elf. You're just going to get your common points up. Obviously, preemptively have your common points up. And you're just gonna maim, Tiger's Fury, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire, Rip, and then you're just spamming bites. And that's pretty much that. Now, again, if there's a bunch of people around you, just pretend your Primal Wrath is your Rip. So, when we are ripping here, you can be switching this for Primal Wrath. So, let's say you're in a blitz, or you're trying to do something like that. You don't even have to click Rip. You just click Primal Wrath. This is an Aoe Build, so you click it, it'll put Rip on everything. And then obviously, if you're doing that and you're trying to do big Aoe, just throw out a Thrash. But usually, again, Thrash is not a major anything. Now it's good if you're in Blitz or if you're just trying to do big Aoe damage. But that's kind of just like you're kind of just keeping it up the entire game at that point. If you're just trying to do big AoE, you're just keeping up Rip with your Primal Wrath and you're keeping up Thrash. And then off that, keep your bleeds up, Moonfire, that's pretty much it. So again, that's pretty much your burst go. It's not really very difficult because Feral's obviously just it's kind of just a easy spec right now to play. So again, your mini go is going to be Tiger's Fury, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire. It's the same exact thing, except obviously you're not going to have Incarn. But off that, you're just trying to get your bleeds up. And you're keeping your bleeds up like you would an Assassination Rogue. You're keeping your Rake up, you're keeping your Moonfire, you're keeping your Rip, you're keeping up your Thrash if the AoE situation counts for it. Now obviously, depending on what you're playing with, Thrash, or, doing a lot of AoE isn't the best thing. Now Blitz is probably going to be really good to use. Or if you can get it off solo, an extra bleed, great, why not use it? But if you're having trouble keeping all of that up at the same time, don't worry about Thrash. Again, if you're wanting to do a bunch of AoE damage, so depending on what you're facing, and you want to just do max AoE damage, the moment they're stacked like this, so if you're playing 2v2 and these guys are both stacked, and maybe it's double DPS, you don't want to be ripping, you want to be primal wrathing, because you're going to be bleeding both. So you might as well just throw it out. It's the same thing, it'll do the same amount of damage, it's pretty much the same, it's literally rip, but in an AoE version. So if you're looking to do AoE, and you click your thrash, click your primal, and then you don't have to click rip. So instead of rip, you would click primal wrath. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to manually click rip if you're doing AoE. Just click primal wrath. That's pretty much how the rotation goes. So again, Tiger's Fury, Incarn, Frenzy, or I meant Tiger's Fury, Rake, Incarn, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire, and then you're going to rip. Now if you're trying to do AoE, you're going to primal wrath, and then you're going to thrash. After that, you're spamming your bites. So we'll do the AoE version for you guys right here. So Tiger's Fury, Rake, Incarn, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire. We'll Primal Wrath, then we'll do our Thrash, and then we're biting. So bite, 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 shred. We can thrash again. We can put up our bleed again for Rake, bite. We can literally go ahead and click a brutal slash, and then we can just Primal Wrath again. Might as well keep up our Moonfire and our Thrash. At that point, you're just biting. And if they're stacked like this, don't even bother clicking shred. You can either thrash or you can I keep forgetting the brutal. They're all like the similar names: brutal slash and thrash. So it's literally just this. This is how you keep your bleeds up here. This is it. So instead of clicking shred, you would literally just click your slash. And that's pretty much it. So again, pretty basic, not very difficult to keep it up, but you're just doing that. And that's how you keep up your bleeds. These 4 bleeds are your main bleeds. Now again, if you're trying to do single target damage, don't worry about slash unless you can get it by itself, because it's gonna break. It's gonna be an AoE ability. It's gonna break. Same thing with slash on your brutal slash. It's gonna break anything around. So any type of CC, maybe you have a fear on the other target, it's gonna break. So it really just depends on what you're playing. But usually, unless you're doing blitz or they're stacked like really good, like if there's not 2 or more people stacked, you're not going to be clicking primal. You're not going to be clicking a brutal slash. You're not really going to need it because it's it's an AoE. It's meant to do AoE damage. So your mini go is pretty much just going to be the same thing except without incarm. So get your combo points ready so you can literally just frenzy for the combo points if you want. Get your thrash up. We can rake. We can preemptively get our bleeds up because why not? We're gonna basically get combo points. Okay, so we have basically our maim ready. So we can maim, Tiger's Fury, Frenzy, Swarm. We can Moonfire again, bite, bite. We can rake again because it's fallen off. We can thrash since they're all stacking, and then we're gonna primal, and it's gonna put bleeds on everything. And then off that, you can either slash or you can shred. It really just depends on the situation, obviously. But you can see I just got 3 bites there. That was non-burst. So, and obviously these are target dummies, so you're not gonna be hitting, like there's chances that you might hit 1.7, but more likely you're gonna be hitting like 1.4s on real people. But again, that wasn't even burst, so like you can definitely do some big numbers. So that's pretty much the AoE build. Again, I'm gonna go to the single target build now, and we can pretty much check that out real quick. And then your PvP talons are pretty much just gonna be this. I don't really run thorns because usually it's just not that good anymore. It's still good, but people kind of know how to play against it. It's not really worth switching it out. Now maybe you're playing really low rated, you can switch out Tireless Pursuit and just get thorns. But I usually just keep it because thorns is it's good, but it's not good at the same time. It really depends on what CR who you're facing, what's going on. But that's pretty much that. So this is gonna be the single target build. I'm pretty sure this is what it is, right? Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure. So this is the Axton build. So I'll have both in the description. One for kind of single target because this one doesn't have brutal wrath. So it's gonna have everything but brutal wrath and thrash. So this is more single targety. It's still good, but it's not gonna be like a blit. And maybe if you're hitting a bases, it really depends. If you know you're gonna be in team fight, or it's a map that you're gonna be in team fight, you're going to want your AoE build. But if you know you're not going to be in team fight, if you're sitting a base, hitting a base, you're never in team fight, you're going to want a single target build. So same thing, you're going to be in stealth. You're going to basically do the same thing. Tiger's Fury, Rake, Frenzy, adapt to Swarm, Moonfire, Rip, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, you're going to put Incarn in there, but that's all there is to it. So Tiger's Fury, Rake, Incarn, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire, Rip, and then we're just shredding and we're biting. So bite, bite, shred, bite, bite, shred, bite. We're going to re-put up Rake. We're going to re-put up Moonfire, bite, shred, bite, shred, bite, shred, and then we can just reapply a Rip because it's fallen off. Boom. That is it. After that, keep up your bleeds. And then you're just waiting for the swarm. You're waiting for your frenzy to come back up. Do the same exact thing again, just with Mayhem. Or if you can get, a re-stealth, great. Just get a re-stealth, do the same thing. Tiger's Fury, Break, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire, Rip. Because that'll allow you to get a better rip off. Because you want to hit those, better versions of it. So you're getting what are they called? I think they're the Wicked Claws. I don't know what they're actually called, but they're the one thing that pop up. It's 3 stacks. It'll basically make your bites and your bleeds do a lot more damage, especially on Rip. It should be one of your top damages, unless you're doing insane bite damage and they're just allowing you to just do full output. Then it's going to be your bite. But that's pretty much it for your burst. Now for defensively, you might struggle surviving, but there's really easy ways to use your cooldowns. So usually for your Heart of the Wild, so there's kind of a few ways you can use it. You can either use it defensively or you can use it offensively. Now, depending on if you're having trouble cloning, obviously if you use it, it's going to make you cast, not only are you going to get 2 frenzied, but you're going to be casting a lot faster. It's kind of like having precog. So if you're having trouble landing clones and you know you have all your cooldowns, so like for example in 5 seconds I burst and I'm like, bro, I cannot get my clone off, go ahead and just use it offensively, and then you can clone the healer. We can run over this guy, Tiger's Fury, we can Incarn to get in stealth, Rake, Frenzy, Swarm, Moonfire, do the same basically rotation, and that's pretty much it. So you can either use it offensively like that to get clones, because after your go you're still going to have it for a few seconds. We can clone the main target because there's no point to keep going on him, and then we can either go to the healer with a maim and just do the same thing we pretty much just did to the other guy, and you're kind of just swapping targets until somebody dies. Kind of all it is. Or you can use it defensively. So usually what I like to do is I'll use my skin pretty much every stun that I take, or any time that I know my healer CC'd or I'm taking a lot of damage. Skin's going to be your non-stop usage cooldown. Obviously it's a 1-minute cooldown, so every time they have off damage burst, you're going to be wanting to skin. It's okay to skin off CD. Now, the moment your healer is CC'd, what I like to do is, the moment my healer gets CC'd and I'm not really bursting or doing anything, I'm just going to immediately bear form. Every single time, even if I'm full HP. Because guess what? If they CC my healer, more than likely, I'm going to be getting stunned, I'm going to be getting coiled, there's something coming my way. So, it's very rare that a Druid dies 100-0 in bear form. It's really never happened. Even a Rest Druid. If you're sitting bear form before they stun you, you're in a really good spot. So anytime your healer gets CC'd at all, it could be a cheap shot, it could be a sheep, it could be a coil, just sit and bear, because more than likely, something's going to happen where they're going to try to do a go. That's how I basically set up my bear form. So every time I know I'm taking a lot of damage, I know somebody's bursting, so if somebody's clicking every cooldown, if a Pharaoh's clicking Incarn on me, I'm not just going to sit in cat form and tank the damage. I'm going to sit bear, wait it out, and then I'll either bash him, maybe cyclone him. There's ways to get around it. You can obviously vortex him to get away, vortex, get away from him, and that's pretty much that. Now your frenzy, I like to use my frenzy, obviously if my healer's having, if he's struggling to heal me, then I'm going to use it, or if my healer CC'd, again, if I'm already in bear form, that's when you're going to be using your renewal, your frenzy, your survival. So you use your cooldowns when your healer is either 1 CC'd or it's like high damp and it's like, okay, I have to use this now, or There's no really healing this damage. So don't use it at 10 or 20%. It needs to be used by 40% minimum. Because guess what? If you survival at 30%, more than likely it is going to be very rare that you survive. Now, usually you don't want to instantly trade it either, unless your healer CC'd. So like if my healer gets CC'd and this guy's popping Incarn or Shadow Blades, then it's fine to trade. I'm just gonna bear for him. First I'll skin and I'll see how much damage it takes. Obviously if I'm 60% and he's popping blades on me or Incarn or anything, I'm instantly gonna uh probably click both. I'll click skin at first and I'll be okay, we'll see how long my healer CC'd. Okay, well he's doing more damage. By the time I get to about 38%, 40%, it's probably going to be survival on top, and then I'll probably be fine. And then obviously, same thing with Frenzy, just click it whenever you need to. If you're in bear form and you're already at 40 or 50%, more than likely, you're going to click Frenzy off CD at that point. Renewal is that one cooldown you save until your healer CC'd and you're about to die. It is basically like a mini lay on hands, and it heals you for like 30%, I think, or something like that. Yep, 30%. So this is a cooldown you're going to be using at 30%, 20%, 15%. Now, if you're obviously can't use it in a stun, so make sure you use it before you get stunned. So this is a cooldown, it might save you in the long run. But it's not like oh, I'm going to use this one cooldown and I'm going to survive. No, it's not going to be like that. But it is a cooldown you're going to use when you're lower HP. So, your healer CC'd, I'm already 30%. I'm just going to go ahead and pop that, and maybe I'll pop Frenzy on top of him, and I'm already back up to 80 or 90% HP. So that's kind of how you play defensively, and then your cloning, as simple as it gets, you're basically just going to clone the healer. Now in the opener, you're not going to be cloning, really. You'll probably stun, you'll bash this guy, or you'll rake to your rotation, and maybe you can just throw a bash on this guy while you're doing it. So let's say, for example, we Tiger's Fury, we rake this guy, we're doing our rotation on this guy real quick. We're going to rake, and then now we're just going to bash him. And then now we just keep doing our rotation. Now maybe your healer or your other teammate can CC him. If he doesn't, you're already doing your burst. Go ahead and use your Heart of the Wild. Try to go for a clone. As you can see, it's a really quick clone. And then I'm keeping my rotation, keeping my bleeds up. And that's pretty much it. And then obviously, if you're trying to get combo points, it's basically like Shadow. It's kind of like for a rogue, you're just trying to AoE for combo points. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So, and then what I like to do, so after my burst is done and I know this guy has clicked defensives and I know he's not going to die, I like to just clone him. And then I'll swap to this guy and maybe I'll put bleeds on him. Do something productive during your time. Don't just stand there and be like, oh, I'm just going to hit into cooldowns. Now you can, keep your bleeds up and all that good stuff. But usually more than likely after you do your go, they're going to start bursting you hard. So, I just like to clone them on their defensive cooldowns, and then I'll just swap to this guy, bleed him up, or I can just run away. Usually, you're probably not going to run away, but, depending on what you're facing, or what's going on, like a double DPS, you're never going to be cloning, you're always going to be full sending damage, and you're just going to be bashing, kicking, stealth, raking, stuff like that, vortexing, everything like that. But hopefully this kind of gave you an insight on what's going on. I'll have both builds down below. But it really comes down to situational. If you know there's going to be 2 or more people stacked together the entire game, you're going to be running the AoE build, because there's no, you want more AoE. The more AoE, the better. But if you're only hitting one target and I'm not going to be going healer, or you're only going to be going that one target at a time, then run this build, because it's obviously a single target more build. It's not really focused on AoE all the way. So hopefully this video helped you a little bit. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. If I forgot anything, let me know. Obviously, I played Convoke Feral in Shadowlands. Otherwise, I haven't played Feral for very, very long. I played Convoke pretty high, actually, at a high level in Shadowlands. And Convoke's still viable now, but it's definitely not as good as it was. It's pretty counterable, but at the same time, it's also still okay. But if you guys want to see some Convoke in the future, let me know. Otherwise, it's been X, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace.